At least my lover is a real man." She didn't scream it. She smirked. That was the detail that mattered. The kitchen light flickered above us. Half-eaten dinner. A wine glass sweating between her fingers. My daughters upstairs asleep in rooms I had painted myself. Real man. I studied her face as if it were a stranger's. The curve of her mouth. The contempt in her eyes. She wanted me to explode. To slam a fist into the wall. To validate her narrative of me. Instead, I inhaled. Slow. Measured. I reached into my briefcase and slid a thin gray folder across the table. Paper against wood. A soft sound. "He's been raising my daughters," I said quietly. "Not our daughters. My daughters." Her smirk faltered. The room shrank around us. She opened the folder with a careless flick, still confident, still superior. Then she saw the numbers. The graphs, the percentages, color drained from her face so quickly it felt like watching ink pulled from water. The silence that followed was not loud. It was surgical. I had known for months, not about the lover, about the shift. It began in small ways. The way she guarded her phone like a state secret. The way she began correcting the girl's features. "They don't look like you," she once laughed at a family gathering. It was meant as a joke, but jokes carry truth like poison in honey. I began noticing things. The oldest one's chin, sharp, angular. No one in my family had that. The younger one's eyes, gray. I have brown. She has brown. Genetics is patient. So am I. Her late nights at Pilates. The unfamiliar cologne once lingering in our hallway. The sudden cruelty in her voice whenever she spoke to me, as if I were an inconvenience. She had tolerated too long. Then came the fight. She wanted a reaction. She needed it. "At least my lover is a real man." She said it like she had been rehearsing it. And in that moment, something inside me went still, not broken. Still. Like a lake freezing over. I didn't feel rage. I felt calculation, because betrayal is not loud. It is administrative. It requires paperwork. The DNA test was the easy part. A few strands of hair from a brush. A swab from my cheek. A quiet visit to a private clinic 3 towns away. Cash payment. No insurance trail. No digital receipt. I watched the technician seal the samples. Watched her label the tubes. Watched them disappear behind a stainless steel door. I remember thinking how clean it all looked. How sterile. Infidelity reduced to biology. The waiting was harder. At night, she lay beside me, scrolling through her phone in the dark. Her screen would glow briefly with a name saved as a single letter. M. Minimalism is cowardice. I observed her rhythms. The precise timing of her showers. The extra 20 minutes in the driveway before coming inside. She thought I didn't notice. I noticed everything. Meanwhile, my daughter-in-law called me days before Thanksgiving. Her voice sharp, entitled. "If you want to join Thanksgiving, come wash the dishes." I almost laughed. This was the narrative she had constructed of me. Some aging wallet. A utility. A man to be tolerated. "Enjoy," I replied. One word. Neutral. She hung up, triumphant. I sat in my study and opened another file. Not DNA, property deeds, investment portfolios, Swiss banking confirmations. Because while my wife rehearsed her insults, I had been diversifying my exit. And then the email came. Subject line, results ready. My heartbeat did not quicken. I clicked. 99.98% exclusion. For both girls. I read it twice. Not because I doubted it, but because I wanted to feel something. I felt clarity. Back to the kitchen. Back to her pale face. "This is fake," she whispered. "It's not," I said. Her hands trembled as she flipped through the pages. Laboratory stamps. Verification codes. Chain of custody documentation. "You tested them?" Her voice cracked. "Yes." "You had no right." I almost admired that. The audacity. "No right?" I repeated softly. "To know if my daughters are mine?" She looked cornered now. Animal panic in her eyes. "You're overreacting," she tried. That was the final insult. Not the affair. Not the deception. The dismissal. I leaned back in my chair. "Call him," I said calmly. Her breath hitched. "Call your real man." She didn't, because she already knew. He wasn't a real man. He was a coward who borrowed another man's life. And now that life was collapsing, the smirk never returned. I didn't shout. I didn't throw her out. I did something worse. I transferred assets, liquidated joint accounts, Redirected investments. By morning, everything substantial was legally untouchable. My lawyers had been briefed weeks ago. Preparation is power. When my daughter-in-law finally saw the photos I posted, my villa in Switzerland, snow-draped terraces, glass walls overlooking the Alps, her phone calls began. 71 times. I counted. Voicemails shifted in tone. From condescension, to confusion, to desperation. We didn't mean it like that. You know how she jokes? Family is family. Family, interesting word. My wife, now sleepless and hollow-eyed, tried a final tactic. You can't leave us with nothing. Nothing? I had given them years. Time. Trust. My name. What they meant was access. To my resources. To my stability. To my patience. I looked at her the way one looks at a concluded contract. You already chose your real man, I said quietly. Let him provide. That was the moment she understood. Not the DNA, not the empty accounts. This, the permanence. Switzerland is quiet this time of year. Snow absorbs sound. The villa is minimal. Clean lines. Floor-to-ceiling windows. I wake early. Make my own coffee. No raised voices. No hidden phones. No rehearsed cruelty. The girls, my former daughters, will grow up with their biological father. Perhaps he will be a real man. Perhaps not. It is no longer my investigation. Sometimes my phone still lights up. Her name. My daughter-in-law's number. Unknown callers. I let them ring. Silence is a language they never learned. I did not destroy them. I removed myself. And in doing so, I collapsed the illusion they were standing on. Betrayal is loud at first, but justice is quiet, cold, precise, like paper sliding across a wooden table. I didn't shout. I didn't beg. I didn't forgive. I simply stepped out of the lie and closed the door behind me.